Hi, this is Erica Douglas from erica.biz, and today I wanted to show you how I use Trello. Now, the first thing I want to get out of the way is that I'm not an employee of Trello. I'm not being paid to do this video. Always people ask, oh, is this some sort of promotional thing? No, this is actually what I use to do my to-do list. And I do use the free version, so I have not paid for Trello. You can go to Trello.com, Trello.com, to set up your own board and follow along. Now, what I have here is my most common board that I use. It's called To Do, and this is how I have set up my board. If you've never used Trello before, when you first log in, you're going to notice that there's nothing there. That's because Trello is basically like a bulletin board or a pin board. So picture a board, on a wall, and you've got columns, and you can make the columns say whatever you want. My columns are grocery list, which is pretty self-explanatory. That's what I use to quickly type groceries in, and that's because when you're on your phone and you're on your Trello, the first thing that pops up is the board over on the left, or the column on the left. So your column on the left for me is quick, is the thing that I use to be able to quickly add stuff in. Then I've got a column for each day of the week, and over on the right, you can see my column called backlog. So I've created each of these columns, and I have a backlog of all the items that I've set up that I need to do over the next couple of weeks. Now, what I do is every Sunday night, I go in from the backlog and I pull stuff over into each day of the week. And I kind of organize that along with my calendar so that I know where and when I can get things done. Couple of the things I want to show you. First of all, here's how to add a card. You click add a card, and you might say that I want to work on our pricing page today. So I'm going to put pricing page on the card, hit enter, and your card is created. Now you can go in here and you can add a description, comments. If you have employees, you can attach people to the card, and you can also add labels or a due date. A due date will pop up a reminder. You can add attachments as well. So one of the ways I use labels is to say approximately how long I think I'm going to spend on this. Now, I know from having used Trello to organize my life for the last several years that I'm really not capable of scheduling more than about 4 hours in a day, because the other business hours of the day are consumed with the day-to-day stuff, emails, customer requests, phone calls, anything like that. So I know that I'm not going to be able to just plow through 8 hours of a to-do list. So be realistic with yourself. I would strongly recommend that you start out not more than 4 hours a day on your Trello board, and then make changes as you go along. So you can use your labels to say about how long you think this item will take. So I think this is going to take about an hour, so I make it a yellow one. Now, here's another way I use Trello. And I use it to time block. So time blocking is when you say I'm going to spend from this time to this time on this item, and it doesn't matter how much of it I get done. It's just I'm spending that much time. I love time blocking email, because email is one of those things that you could spend hours on and still have a million emails. So what I do here is I have 1 hour of email. I'm going to add the label 1 hour, and then I'm going to say, okay, so now I have, at a glance, I know that my yellow is 1 hour, so I have 2 hours of work scheduled on Monday. So now I can go over here and drag 2 more hours of work into Monday and stop. So that's my Monday. Do the same thing for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I do this every Sunday night. Typically doesn't take me longer than about 15 minutes to do all of this. I'm really fast with it at this point. I can scroll through my backlog quickly, and then I can get things done. One of the interesting things is stuff will hang around for weeks and weeks and weeks. And that's when you know it's either a low priority, needs to be delegated, outsourced, or something's blocking you on it, like you have a customer that's just not responding to something that you've asked them for. So keep in mind that that's actually an indicator that either you don't want to do it, you should outsource or hire for that item, or it's something where maybe you don't want to work with that customer anymore because they're not getting you the information that you need. I've noticed that as well. Sometimes I have stuff that sticks around for weeks and weeks. Every Sunday night, I also clear everything onto the backlog first. So if stuff didn't get done, it's going to go in the backlog and it's going to sit up here at the top. So if I didn't get to my hour of email, I put it back in my backlog, and then I can try it for next week. When I get things done, let's talk about when I get something done. Okay, so I've done my hour of email. So I'm going to go into the hour of email and click archive. This is basically checking it off the list. Now, when you go over here on the right, click Show Menu, you can see all of the stuff that you've archived. That's actually how I came to the conclusion that I wasn't able to do more than about 4 hours of scheduled work in a day, because I noticed that I was never archiving more than about 3 to 6 cards a day. I think my record was 7 or 8 cards, and a lot of those cards on that day were like 15-minute cards. As you notice here, my labels are 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 to 3 hours, or 4+ hours. Some stuff you're not going to know how long it takes. I like to estimate. I typically will time block those and say I'm going to spend an hour on it. If I don't get it done, I'm going to move it to the next day, and I'll say second try, and I'm going to spend another hour on it. One of the other ways I use Trello, I want to talk about, besides the to-do list, I also have a different board on my keto diet. So I lost 25 pounds doing keto diet, and I use it for recipes. This is where I store all of my keto recipes. The coolest thing about this board is I've shared it with a bunch of other people who are interested in the keto diet. So up here you can see all the people I've shared it with. They have read-only access to it, so they can see all of my recipes. If I don't like a recipe, I just delete it or archive it. And then that way I'm not having that problem of, what am I going to eat for dinner? Let me go on the internet. Oh, here's an interesting video. Let me read this whole story before I read the recipe type of thing. That way I can say, what am I having for dinner? Okay, here's a list of 50 different things. And whenever I do see a new keto recipe, I actually just go into Trello, add it into my Trello board. Trello actually works on iPhone and Android. It works on Mac and PC, and they have apps for it. And then, of course, you can also go to Trello.com. And it works the same way everywhere, which is really cool. So if I'm out and about and I'm on the phone with a client in my car, and they add a to-do list, I'm at a stoplight. I've literally done this 1,000 times. I'm at a stoplight, at a red light, and I'm typing something into my to-do list on Trello. Now, you might ask, what happens with stuff that comes up during the week? Sometimes if it's something I want to add today, and this is why I don't add more than 4 hours in a day, I'm going to add it in that day. Something, so I'm going to add something today, right? A lot of times, if I'm quick and on the phone, I'm going to add it over here under my grocery list, and then I'll move it to somewhere else later. Stuff does tend to stack up toward the end of the week. So again, that's why I try Thursday and Friday. I usually add like 2 cards, because the rest of the week or the rest of this day, I'm going to be catching up on all the stuff I didn't get done on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because stuff came up. So cut yourself some slack. Don't do more than 3 to 4 hours a day. A lot of times I schedule 2 to 3 big items per day, like a pricing page. Yeah, so 3 of those items in a day is more than enough. I would probably get done 2 in a couple of easy 15-minute tasks. Don't be afraid, by the way, to put little tasks in there if they take like 15 to 20 minutes. I don't put 5-minute tasks in. I try to just do them unless I can't do them right now, and then I will add them to Trello. But if it's a 15-minute task, I like to add those in there and add the 15-minute tag to it, because I feel accomplished when I get stuff done. So it's nice to have a couple of these little green ones in there, and you can stick them up at the top if you want to start your day and get something done, or you can stick them at the bottom if you know you're going to be exhausted at the end of the day and you just need something easy. I stick mine at the bottom. So I try to start my day by doing something harder, and then I end the day with a coast into 3 or 4 of these little tiny tasks if I have any of those left. So that's how I use Trello. I hope this helps you out. You can go to Trello.com, set up your own account. And I am Erica Douglas, and my website is erica.biz. Thanks so much for watching.